All right, good morning, everyone. This is Rebecca Smith-Aldridge from the Mid-Hudson Library System. We want to welcome you to our webinar this morning called Hello Again, Reintroducing Libraries to Your Community with Stacie Ledden, the Director of Innovations and Brand Strategy for Anythink Libraries out in Colorado. We're thrilled to have Stacie with us today. We've been talking about this project at the Marketing Advisory Committee for about 2 years and hoping to find a way to make it a bigger deal here in New York and the Hudson Valley. So for those of you that don't know, the Mid-Hudson Library System's Marketing Advisory Committee is made up of member library directors who are taking a look at what would be helpful for us to focus on as a system to help libraries elevate their profile in their community and to also be garnering more understanding about what a modern public library is. And the Outside the Lines program is a pretty perfect fit for the goals we have in mind through that committee. So we're thrilled to have Stacie here with us today. As we mentioned, she's the Director of Innovations and Brand Strategy, which is one of the coolest titles I've ever seen. Stacie's been there since 2008, helping to launch the Anythink brand in 2011 that garnered the library the John Cotton Dana Award for Outstanding Public Relations in Libraries. It's a very big deal in library land. In her position at Anythink, she's filled the role of event planner, webmaster, brand champion, and Anythink cheerleader. Previous to her work at Anythink, Stacie was an editor for a global newswire service, freelance writer, and faithful library customer. What a good starting spot. In 2012, she helped launch the R Squared, the Risk and Reward Conference, which focused on creativity and taking smart risks to move libraries forward. And don't we love that here in the Hudson Valley? Stacie was named one of Library Journal's Movers and Shakers for 2013, and she's one of my favorite library people to follow online. So I'm absolutely thrilled and kind of geeking out to have Stacie here today. So Stacie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you guys today to talk about Outside the Lines. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I am going to spend the first half hour or so, first part of the session, telling you a little bit about Outside the Lines, how it came about, share some examples of how other organizations have participated in Outside the Lines. And then I'm going to turn it over to all of you for a little bit for an interactive brainstorm. And I will walk you through that step by step. And then we'll have some time at the end for questions. But feel free to be adding those to the chat box as we go. And I think Rebecca will be kind of keeping track of those. So at the end, we can discuss anything you'd like. So first, I wanted to just give you an overview of how Outside the Lines Libraries Reintroduced came about. So it was 3 years ago this month, actually, that the Front Range Library directors, so here in Colorado, the directors kind of throughout the metro area here in Denver, they have an annual retreat in Durango, Colorado. And when they were down there, the big chat of the weekend was shifting perceptions of libraries. And there was this sense of urgency that they felt of, we don't want to answer the question anymore, why do we need libraries? We have the internet. And that there was this sense of urgency of, we cannot wait 3 years to put a plan together to tackle this. We need to do something now. And Pam Sandlin-Smith, our director at Anythink, was there, and there were a lot of big chats happening. And one of the things that came out of that was the idea to do a statewide awareness campaign here in Colorado. And the idea was to, do something really bold and powerful and slick and unexpected, something a lot inspired by Apple. Maybe there was a possibility that we could partner with a national ad agency that could potentially do some pro bono work for us and just really do something unexpected. And when Pam got back, she pulled me in and we started talking with some colleagues and friends in the ad industry. And the more that we talked about it, the more that we realized that we could have the shiniest, most wonderful ad campaign in the world. But if the experience that people had when they walked into our libraries really didn't match that look and feel, any campaign that we did was going to fall flat. And so we went to our friend John Bellina from Ricochet Ideas. He was part of the creative team that helped create the Anythink brand. And he gave us some really good advice, and he said, I think you should rethink the tool. And from that discussion came the idea of Outside the Lines. So Outside the Lines is a week-long celebration. This year it's September 11th through 17th. And the idea is that we're demonstrating the creativity and innovation happening in libraries. So we really want to reintroduce libraries to our community and really focus on creative engagement, not just in our libraries, but out in the community where people are. So the library directors from that retreat kind of passed the torch over to a group of Colorado library marketers, of which I'm a part of, and we began to shape this initiative, and this was in 2014. So when we first set out, the objectives that we wanted to meet, oops, let's see here. There we go. We had three main objectives. One was that people understand that libraries are changing into dynamic centers for engagement designed to help them be their best. So helping people understand that libraries are on their side. We wanted this initiative to help libraries better understand how to market themselves, finding new and exciting ways to get the word out about the 21st century library. And then finally, and I think this has been one of the most powerful parts of this initiative, is we wanted to help organizations work together to demonstrate the creativity and innovation happening in libraries. It's a very powerful thing to feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself. And we can have a greater impact when we're all kind of working towards this vision together. And that's been really one of the biggest thoughts, the biggest things that has come out of Outside the Lines is libraries all kind of working together during this week to engage our communities in creative ways. So to sign up for Outside the Lines, it doesn't matter what kind of library you are, big or small. We have academic libraries, we have special libraries, we have school libraries. We actually have a high school library that's signed up this year so far. The idea is that during that 1 week, during Outside the Lines, each organization does one event or campaign that meets these 7 criteria. So it's something that gets people thinking and talking about libraries in a different way, something that showcases the library out in the community as well as in the library, something that highlights how your library is relevant to people's lives, something that represents your local community, and this is really important because, of course, all of the communities that we serve are so different, and it's really important to be thinking about that audience and thinking about your local community and what kind of event or campaign or service would resonate with them. Something that is active versus passive and gets people engaged. Something that is extraordinary and unexpected. And the little asterisk that I always kind of place next to this one is that, this doesn't have to be fireworks and marching bands. This doesn't have to be something huge. Sometimes the simplest things have the biggest impact. But that element of unexpected and helping people think about libraries in a different way is really important. But most importantly, something that is fun. And the committee who created this initiative, that fun had to be in here. We want it to be fun for the community and the people that we are engaging with, but also for staff. It's much easier to really kind of rally behind an initiative like this if it's fun and meaningful for folks. So I highly recommend going to getoutsidethelines.org. This is where you can register for Outside the Lines, and I'm actually going to take us here real quick. You can register at the top here. When you do register, a little pin is added to our map here. You can see all of the participating libraries. Let's see. New York, I think we already have a few right here on the map. There's also a ton of resources on this site. So you can actually, we have some links to our Storyfies. These are slideshows that show examples of how other libraries have participated in the past 2 years. So lots of ideas here. We also have in our press room, there are logos, there are templated press releases. We don't have all of the 2016 materials up yet, but they will be up by the end of the month. But the press releases, the logos, there are other graphics here that are very helpful for launching your campaign. So this has been absolutely a grassroots effort, mostly driven by social media. The beauty of Outside the Lines is that it is scalable, as I mentioned, so no matter what the size of your library system, you can kind of make this work for you. But the GetOTL hashtag has really fueled this initiative. And it gives us an opportunity to see like a big picture of how all the libraries around the world are participating in Outside the Lines. It's a way for us as part of the planning committee to kind of aggregate the different initiatives that are happening all over and really push those out to the media. We've gotten some really great media coverage from this initiative. It's a great way to engage the community and really help put the library in the forefront of people's minds. So these were some of my favorites here. Of course, you can see one of the book bikes at the top with little Banjo the dog. And then at the bottom right here, Michelle Arbuckle, who is one of my favorite librarians. She works for the Ontario Library Association in Canada. And she was really integral to getting a lot of Canadian libraries participating in Outside the Lines last year. And she started a battle. Her tweet here says, Canadian libraries, we really need to represent at GetOTL this year, thinking of using provincial smack talk to fuel the fires, which was great. And they did. They absolutely started signing up and then kind of smack talking and competing with each other, and then did some really fun things to engage their community during Outside the Lines. Here on the left is actually a post from last year from author Jackie Collins. She used one of our graphics that we have available on the website, Tell Everyone About Your Awesome Library Experiences. She posted to Facebook, how many of you go to your local library? Today I'm declaring my love for libraries. Why? I've met amazing people at libraries across the country. There's nothing better than getting lost among the shelves of incredible books. We actually are not sure how she found out about Outside the Lines. That she was using our graphics and using the hashtag was absolutely incredible. We were doing a lot of outreach to different publishers and celebrities for endorsements, but we were really thrilled to see this. And unfortunately, this was about a week before she passed, but we were just really amazed at her support of libraries and Outside the Lines. So when we started out in 2014, and our merry band of marketers put the Outside the Lines initiative together, our original goal was to have 20 libraries in Colorado sign up to participate in Outside the Lines. That first year in 2014, we ended up having 178 libraries across the US and Canada sign up to participate. And last year, our second year, we ended up having 278 libraries across the US. We had libraries from 6 Canadian provinces sign up to participate. We had 1 Australian library. The medical library at University of Puerto Rico signed up to participate, and the library serving military families at Guantanamo Bay participated last year, and they did some really amazing stuff for the families down there. We had 12 academic libraries last year, including University of Texas and Rutgers University. We had 2 school libraries. We've seen a lot of state library involvement as well, which is really great, rallying their members to participate in Outside the Lines. And one of the things that this has really shown is that we all face very similar challenges. That idea of shifting perceptions of libraries, reintroducing libraries to our communities, and helping put the library at the forefront of people's minds. So no matter if you're a tiny library, you know, at the tip of Maine, or a large academic library, a large urban library, we're all facing similar challenges, and so this really provides us a framework and a vision for engaging our community in creative ways and all doing it together. So this kind of gives you a breakdown. I think this is helpful to take a look at. These are the populations served by the participating organizations in 2015, excuse me. And so you can see that the range of different libraries and organizations and the sizes. It's really incredible to see the many different ways that different organizations engage their communities. So I want to share a couple comments. Each year we send out a survey after Outside the Lines to just see if we're kind of meeting those goals that we've set and to get feedback. Haley at Douglas County here in Colorado, that's a county just south of Denver. Last year, actually I think it's the past 2 years, they have partnered with local breweries. We have a huge beer culture here in Colorado. We love beer. And they knew that and worked with local breweries to create a little passport that community members could fill out, and so they would go to different breweries around the area, and they had things like book pairings with beers. They had things like naming of beers, literary inspired names for different beers that the breweries offered. And so if you went to these different spots and filled out your passport, you could come into the library and get a free pint glass. So Haley wrote, 2 20-something young men ran into the library to get their pint glasses one day. They told our frontline staff that they hadn't been in a library since they were children, but that they might have to rethink that because they didn't know we were so cool, which is great. And that's one thing I wanted to highlight here is that, you know, if you are interested in participating in Outside the Lines, really thinking about the audience that you'd like to reach, this is a great opportunity to reach new audiences. So Carrie at Metropolis Public Library in Illinois wrote about her 2 different initiatives. With our push of the OTL campaign, we took to the airways at our local radio station with a now reoccurring coffee talk with our librarians. This gave us the opportunity to promote events and our other services for the community. Since we live in a river town, we have had an overwhelming response and feedback to our circulation of fishing poles. We reached out to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, and they provided the fishing poles and promotional kits that accompany them. People are amazed at the type of materials that can be checked out at their local library. I love this example too because you should never feel like you have to do this alone. This is a great opportunity to connect with partners in your community, just like they did with the radio station and the Department of Natural Resources. This gives you a great, again, framework to create those different partnerships. This also shows how important it is to really know your community and think about their interests, think about their passions, and then create, you know, meet those needs. This is a great initiative to do that. So I'm going to share with you a few examples of how libraries have participated in Outside the Lines. First, last year, Anythink, we created the Take Charge, Unleash Your Potential at Anythink campaign as part of our Outside the Lines initiative. We had a team guide, and the guide's what we call our librarians at Anythink, and who not only was a librarian, but also a woodworker and an engineer. And she came up with the idea to create these pedal-powered charging stations. So these are stationary bikes that have converters on the back that actually, when you pedal, you can charge a device or, you know, this light box that you can see here. So we created a fleet of these pedal-powered charging stations, and we had some of them in the branches. Some of them we took out to the community, though. This was at Harvest Fest in Thornton. We took them to the Adams County Courthouse. We took them to a local Walmart. We took them to a rec center near our Pearl Map Library. And the idea was to just spark a conversation, and it gave us an opportunity to talk one-on-one with people, to pique their curiosity, and then tell them about, talk about sustainability, talk about wellness, talk about the STEM programs that we offer at the library. And it was just an unexpected way to say hello, introduce ourselves, and have really meaningful one-on-one conversations with people out where they are. And it was a lot of fun. So Los Alamos Library System in New Mexico, they love their roller derby girls down in Los Alamos. And so they participated in Outside the Lines last year by hosting a roller derby story time before a match. And the roller derby girls actually gave the story time. They did the reading. The kids could actually interact with the roller derby girls, and then everybody went to the match together. I don't know if it's actually called match, but that's what I keep calling it. And they had a blast. They got great social coverage for this, great turnout, and it's another example of a wonderful partnership and them really knowing their community and what their community was interested in. So this is one of my absolute favorites. Theatre Alberta in Alberta, Canada, participated in Outside the Lines last year, and they've actually signed up again this year. We have about 85 libraries, as you saw, signed up so far this year, organizations, I should say. So Theatre Alberta participated last year, and they have a special collection of about 2,000 Canadian plays, playwrights. And they really wanted to draw attention to this special collection that they have. And so they used Outside the Lines to do that. And they created the Blue Bag Book Club, where they would mail bags. You can see the blue bag in the bottom right corner. They would mail bags of these plays to their members. And it was like this little surprise that they got in the mail. And then they encouraged the members to take photos of them reading the plays or receiving the plays and all over town. And it was wildly successful. They had so many posts, so much engagement from their members. It was really incredible. One of the most successful social campaigns that I've seen too, as part of Outside the Lines. And people absolutely loved it. And they really just truly used this to build awareness of their special collection. So I'm going to share with you a few examples of how some smaller libraries have participated in Outside the Lines. Kate and Levada, the public library here in Colorado, this was one of the comments that she shared. This was actually from 2014, but they ended up writing inspirational quotes down the sidewalks on Main Street. And there was this just wonderful element of surprise. The community completely embraced it. They had new people coming into the library that hadn't been in there in years. And Kate says, "The simple act of writing quotes on Main Street sidewalks got so much attention. We thought that our little library wouldn't be able to do anything grandiose for OTL. However, our simple act of spreading positivity garnered such a great response. It reminded people how relevant the library is and how much of a community builder the library can be." And I just love this as an example of, again, it doesn't have to be, the marching bands, the fireworks, a huge production. Sometimes something so simple can really be impactful. Another one of my favorites is at Cedar Rapids Public Library. They have one branch there in Cedar Rapids, and they created these coasters. And the coaster says, transform this coaster with colors, images, words, and your imagination. Drop it at the library or in the book drop to be part of an art installation at the library. They printed about 2,000 of these coasters and put them all over town in unexpected places, bars, coffee shops, restaurants, all over town. And they really reached a whole new audience doing this. And people were so incredibly creative, as you can see from that example on the bottom there. I mean, there were a few that kind of looked like craft projects, and but there were some really spectacular pieces that people contributed to this. So when the library got all of these back in, they partnered with a local art professor in one of his art classes, and the students actually created an installation hanging all of these different coasters in the windows at the library in this beautiful installation. So this was, I love this example because, one, it's fairly simple. It didn't cost a lot. It was the cost of printing for the coasters. It's a great opportunity for partnership, partnering with the local art professor and his students, and really reaching a whole new audience. And they've done this actually the past 2 years and have had incredible response. And then finally, Douglas County, again, here in Colorado. This was just one part of many pieces that they did for Outside the Lines, but I think this is just a great, simple way to engage people. They just went down to a local dog park and handed out milk bones, courtesy of their local library. And we have a big beer culture here. We love our dogs here. So it was really about knowing your audience, knowing your community, and responding to that, and just saying thanks. Thanks for living here. Thanks for working here. Thanks for bringing your doggies here. And just an opportunity to kind of talk one-on-one with people about the library, which I just think is fabulous. So if you are considering participating in Outside the Lines, now is the time to start planning if you can. We have had a lot of lessons learned in the past 2 years. For us at Anythink, my team has been really integrally involved in the national campaign, and so the past 2 years we've kind of had a late start, to be honest. And you can still do a lot on a short time frame, but starting early and it really gives you the opportunity to identify those partners, potential partners, to get staff engaged, and really kind of like edit, which leads me to my second point here, that simple is better. You don't have to be everything to everyone. One of the things that we're doing this year is we really targeted. We really said, and I say this to people all the time when I'm talking about Outside the Lines, that it's really use this for whatever goals you have, whatever goals your organization has. So if you're looking to target a new audience, if you're looking to promote a specific service or a specific collection like Theater Alberta did, you can use this initiative to help you accomplish whatever goals it is that you have at your organization. For us at Anythink this year, we're one of the fastest growing counties in the country right now, and so we're really targeting new residents and helping to welcome them to the community, letting them know that the library is there, letting them know that we're on their side, and finding some creative ways that we can reach out to them. And then passionate librarians. If you are putting a team together to work on Outside the Lines, it's really tough to kind of convince people to come along. Really want to try and find a core team that's really passionate about this vision. And this kind of takes me back to the OCLC study that came out in 2008, From Awareness to Funding, and it's a study that we reference all the time. And one of the major findings that came out of that was that it really isn't a specific demographic, that supports libraries, that funds libraries. Really, it's not Democrats, Republican, women, families. The two main reasons that people support libraries are that they've had a transformational experience at the library, or they've interacted with a passionate librarian. Taking that passion that you have with your staff, finding a core group of folks in your organization that can help, that really believes in this vision and engaging the community in a creative way can really help you be successful in this campaign. So, let's see here. Now we're going to switch gears and do a little interactive exercise. So I am going to provide you with this link here. Oops, that just went to Rebecca. There we go. Okay, so now you all have this link in the chat box here. And what we're going to do is an exercise called list storming. As Rebecca mentioned in my bio several years ago, actually it's 4 years ago now, I can't even believe it, we helped launch a conference called R Squared, the Risk and Reward Conference, which was all about taking smart risks to move libraries forward, creative thinking in libraries. And we had a keynote speaker named Josh Linkner. He's the author of Disciplined Dreaming. I highly recommend that book. He did a lot of really great exercises, and he has those in the book too, to help get your creative juices going. And one of the exercises is list storming. And the idea is to list as many ideas as you possibly can in a short amount of time, because your first idea isn't always your best idea. Sometimes number 57 is the best. It's just a really great way to kind of get rid of, release your inhibitions, not vet, just kind of do a brain dump. And so we're actually going to do that here now. So if you go to the link that I provided in the chat, and then in this corner here, if you click on this little key, you can actually type in your name next to your color there. And so I'd like you to do that. We'll just take a second here. And so basically this Lullabot, this is a collaborative, so Mary, what I'm going to have you do is actually go over to this key here, and when you click on this key, you can put in your name right next to the colored box. And I'll give you guys a second to do that. And so this is a collaborative notepad. And so I'm going to pose a question here, and we're going to do a list storming together. So our first question is, everybody ready? I think we can go ahead and get started. So the first question that we're going to pose is, what words describe your community? And so underneath this question, feel free to just jot down the words that describe your local community. And I'm going to go ahead and time it, give us 3 minutes. And the idea is to just as many words as you possibly can in 3 minutes. Quirky, I love it. So what words describe your community? Interested in hands-on learning. I love that. Very busy Main Street, suburban, outdoorsy. Poor, wealthy. It's, yeah, I mean, you always kind of see that so many different um, yoga, crunchy, paleo. Love it. Tight-knit, agriculture, smart, friendly. Do you have a lot of families? Is it mostly an older community? So about 10 seconds left. Young families. All right, so we're gonna stop there. So that's a fabulous list we have there. So next, I'm gonna pose one more question for you. I'm gonna start us at the top here, and if you could just go ahead and add your answers beneath it. If you took the library out into the community, where would you take it? And feel free to blue sky it. You know, this can be as practical or as whimsical as you would like it to be. And so 3 minutes. And maybe think sometimes of unexpected places, places people wouldn't necessarily expect you. Seniors' homes, business association, group hub, chamber. Do you have any concert venues in your area? Antique stores. Ooh, I love that one. Laundromats is one that's come up pretty frequently. We've seen some really cool initiatives or libraries that have taken to the laundromats, which is pretty fun. Disc golf course, I love it. Grades. You know, the dog park was a great example from the Douglas County. Drive-in, oh gosh, that sounds super fun. County Fair, Film Festival, Distillery. This is a great list. Yoga art studios. Schools. So we've got 10 seconds left. On the rail trail, love it. All right, this is a fabulous list. We're going to stop there. And I'm going to give you one last question. I'm going to start at the top here again. And what would your community be surprised to learn about the library? And so we're going to, you know, there are those, I'm going to give you 3 minutes again. So think about, you know, when you talk with a friend, I have this happen all the time, and they say, "Oh, you work at a library, really?" And I say, "Yeah, you know, you could stream that album you just bought." But what are the things that people are surprised by? That we're nice and care about the community. I love that. Shifting those perceptions, right? Ukuleles for loan. I love it. How fun would that be to have a jam session at the local park? Yes, I love it. How many crafts and maker sessions we have each week? How much money we can save the average family. I love that. And how little they currently pay in taxes. Absolutely. Teen tech tutors, Minecraft clubs, that our staff is paid and knowledgeable, and that they're on their side, right? Art exhibits, that we're not always quiet. Commitment to free speech. That they don't get to keep their loans. It's very true. Meeting space. We're part of a functioning democracy. We don't censor. How great is that? Green, you're killing me over here. Okay, time's up. So typically when I do this exercise in person, we do this in teams and take these 3 lists, and then the last step is to create a dream kind of initiative thinking about all of these things. And so I want to, Rebecca, if this is okay, open it up. If there are any ideas that sort of come to mind, like thinking about these 3 lists, about how you might want to participate in Outside the Lines, were there any kind of initial ideas that struck you?
So I've just unmuted everyone, so if you want to unmute yourself and jump in with some of the things you're thinking about, please do. I'll tell you what caught my attention right away while you guys unmute yourself. Just thinking about all the different microbreweries that we have popping up in our area in the Hudson Valley. You guys know I live in the middle of nowhere out in Livingston, and we actually have a microbrewery out there and a distillery. So that was a cool idea to help that small business get more attention while also doing our work. I like the idea that we might be able to leverage Outside the Lines to not only promote ourselves, but small businesses in our communities.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Anyone else? Any initial kind of ideas that popped into your mind doing this?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is Mark. I was struck by the Canadian plays. So
Yes.
I don't have enough information to know much about local authors or writers, but I just thought it was such an interesting idea. And I like the blotter idea. That was clever. I don't know. There were a lot of really clever ideas.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing too is just, again, using this, if again there's a specific audience that you're trying to reach, or if you are trying to connect with local businesses and build partnerships or highlight a part of your collection, you can use this initiative to do that.
If anyone has ever tried to, and I don't know if it runs into a problem, but like if you have a company that's providing an awful lot of Wi-Fi, partnering with them on some level to really get across how much is available free through the internet through the library, or
well, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the company right now, and my friend Catherine's going to kill me because she works there. But they do the mobile hotspots,
yeah,
and really kind of distributing those. I know, like Google funded a big partnership with New York Public Library to distribute those, but getting those hotspots out to rural areas in a creative way could be a lot of fun too. It'd be really interesting.
Stacie, in our area, we have 2 of our counties have the worst broadband connectivity in the whole state. So that's a pretty big topic for us here.
Right. Yeah, it seems like that would be a great opportunity for a partnership.
Stacie, how important in your experience over the past 2 years do you think it is to have a handful of libraries in the same geography working on this during the same week? Does that help to leverage kind of the national PR that you're doing? Would that be a way to make sure there's local attention, or do you think one library in one county could make something really good happen here?
I think that one library can do absolutely incredible things, but what we've seen, and we've actually heard this more and more from the feedback that we get from the survey, is that a lot of organizations are looking for like sister libraries to work together, because one, you get it's easier to get local press, I guess, if you have sort of a group of libraries working together. You can share resources, which is huge, staff and potentially printed materials and that kind of thing. So combine, and then brain power too, just the opportunity to collaborate with your peers and get out in the community together. We do a lot of that here in Colorado, and the first year we actually did a kickoff event in downtown Denver on the 16th Street Mall, where we had like 7 different libraries set up booths, and each brought like a different experience, and it was just a really wonderful outreach to just say, hey, libraries are here, we're on your side, here are some of the really cool things that we're doing these days, and have good chats with our community, and being able to collaborate on that together was really incredible.
I think the work you're doing at the national level, or I guess now the international level, with the coordinated press release and hashtag is something that is really attractive to be taking advantage of.
Right. Yeah, and we do. So one of the things too, like we sort of watch, we're really paying attention, really tuned into how libraries are participating, and then we take those stories and push them out to. We've had some good coverage on PBS National, on NPR National, and really highlighting libraries large and small across the U.S., now international. We are looking to build our international participation this year, because libraries, I mean, everywhere are kind of facing the same challenges that we are.
It's awesome. It's like you've just augmented every library with a mini PR department, so thanks for that.
Hey, we do what we can. But, last year in particular, I mean, it was absolutely incredible, the local coverage, like a lot of coverage in community newspapers across the U.S. We're monitoring that, pretty closely too, but there was a lot of really good pickup, and we just kind of provide the tools, provide the framework, and then it's really up to, the individuals and their organizations to kind of take it and run with it. But it's been so incredible to see. And I'm sentimental to a fault, but when I think about all of these libraries, all of these people getting out in the community and engaging people and having these chats all at the same time, I just I love it. It's really amazing.
So we've got about 7 minutes left. What kind of questions do you guys have for Stacie? You can either type them in the chat box, or you're all unmuted, so you could go ahead and ask them. All right. I'm hearing no questions. Oh, we have a question?
Hi, Stacie. This is Bob Miller from Elting Library in New Paltz.
Hi, Bob.
Hi. You referred to a study, OCLC. Was that the acronym you referred to?
Yes.
I was wondering exactly what that was.
Rebecca, how do I describe OCLC?
I think it's somewhat of a think tank, as well as an international body that focuses on how people access information through libraries.
Yes, thank you. And they periodically do different studies, and the From Awareness to Funding that came out in 2008 has been hugely influential for us at Anythink. In the way that we think about our library services. I highly recommend reading the study. I think that a lot of the findings still stand true. But as I mentioned earlier, the big surprise that came out of that, and it was the first time that something like this had come out, I believe, was that it really just blew all of those demographics that people thought support and fund libraries out of the water. Like, people would assume that it was people, families, people using the libraries. It said that even people using the libraries weren't the ones who were funding. It was really those who had a transformational experience at the library. It could have been, one-time interaction. It could be that they knew someone who also had a transformational experience at the library. And then again, those passionate librarians. So having an interaction, and that's why, we really talk a lot at Anythink about our staff being our brand, and building a strong culture, and because, it makes a huge difference in people's lives. But I highly recommend taking a look at that study, and Rebecca actually just added the link there.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yep.
I was also wondering if there's any way to, are there any way to measure tangible results of some of these activities? Have they actually boosted library use, or people coming to the door, or taking books out, or have you measured that end of it?
I think really it's for each individual organization to, each organization sets their own goals. So getting back to kind of what I said about using this initiative to whatever your strategies or goals are, and then measuring the impact based on that. So some people do use this for library card sign up. Some people do use this to have maybe they want to promote a specific service in their library, and so, I think they would be measuring, based on what their individual goals are. Mm-hmm. For as far as the national, I gotta say we haven't been the best at measuring impact. Really, what we have is kind of a lot of anecdotal. We've got a lot of the media coverage, and then again we send out a survey after the initiative to all of the participants, and what the kinds of things that we're thinking about is, did this help you engage your staff? Did this help you share your library story in a different way? Did it help you think about marketing your library in a different way? And we've seen some really overwhelmingly positive response from that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Well, I want to just emphasize again, too, that, really using this to accomplish your goals, and that it's scalable, and that sometimes, really, truly, it's the simplest things that have the biggest impact. So I know sometimes, like, taking something like this on, or, engaging in an initiative like this can feel kind of overwhelming, like, oh my God, this is one more thing. But we've also seen a lot of libraries that have used this or participated, and they're using stuff they already had going on that week. So, they may have already had different programs happening, or like we had one group that was already putting on like their own local Comic-Con, but they signed up to participate in Outside the Lines, to be a part of the larger community, to use the hashtag. So this doesn't have to be another thing on top of what you're already doing. You can really use it however you want.
Well, Stacie, I just want to say thank you. You did a great job of summarizing the program and showing the benefits of it for all of us. And I really enjoyed the interactive component that you created for us this morning. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to the Mid-Hudson Library System.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks, everybody, for participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.